Player comparisons. This time we are doing Baylor Scheierman. I have a best case and a worst case player comp for Baylor, and then Brian Ralph does as well. We're going to try to convince each other our comp is better than the other person's comp. In the end, we'll have a consensus player comp for Baylor. All right, best case comparison. What do you have for Baylor Scheierman?
Another player who came out as an older college prospect, caused him to drop in the draft. I don't think that matters as much as in Baylor's case, but caused him to drop in the draft. Knockdown shooter has become an integral part of a playoff team when healthy. Desmond Bane. I think Scheierman is more passing to his game than Desmond Bane does, but Bane is somebody who came in to the Grizzlies. They weren't really sure what to expect from him. He immediately became one of the NBA's better shooters, a plus defender, and a key piece on a playoff team, and a one of the Robins to John Morant Superman. I think Baylor Scheierman can fill that role.
Okay. Totally agree, like what Desmond did for Memphis. I think that type of impact can be had by Baylor. Where I'm going to push back hard on you on this one is the lack of passing, because I think it is such an important part of Baylor Scheierman, the player, that I don't think you can make a comp that doesn't include it, and that's just not Bane's game. I went with a bigger guard who I think is still very far away from what his best year in the NBA will look like. He's a young player. I went with Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves,
Huh?
who stumbled his way into an NBA contender spot and was kind of thought to just be a shooter, and is now 3 years into the league, has found himself being a third option next to two of the more talented stars we've ever seen. And this year he averaged 16 points, only 4 rebounds, but 5.5 assists as a secondary playmaker. To me, I think that's exactly what Baylor Scheierman's path could look like.
I like that better than mine because I agree with the passing. I agree with the passing.
Honestly, jumbo Austin Reeves would be like stud. If Austin Reeves was bigger and could rebound,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
happen. I guess I wonder if he has like the shake to him Austin does, but I guess we'll find out. Worst case scenario, player comparison for Baylor Scheierman. What do you got?
So some of this is because I don't think worst case scenario Baylor Scheierman is bad. I also understand that there are some out there who view this comp as there potentially being some more potential to his game. So I'm only going to talk about this player right now. It's another Laker. I'm going to go with the version of Cam Reddish right now, where
Ooh.
he's a guy who does a little bit of everything, but this year he averaged 5 points a game, 2 boards, 1 assist, shot 34% from three, 39% from the field. Started some games, average over 20 per game for the Lakers, was a inconsistent bench piece. I think that's worst case scenario is maybe he struggles with the pace of the game. Maybe his athleticism limitations limit his ceiling and how good he can be, but he still finds ways to contribute a little bit here and there.
Okay, I don't hate that. I don't hate that, especially with like the size as Cam being like a bigger wing,
Yeah.
right? So I that might be what like the path is if he just doesn't make shots, right? Because Cam just kind of
Well,
stumbled
he
into this
can't.
world.
Cam's an okay shooter. He's not a knockdown guy, but let's say Baylor can't get his shot off as effortlessly and needs to be set up.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Just if that's a world where like Baylor just never actually shoots 40% from three, I could see that
Right.
being a similar path. Um, okay, I went with a completely different archetype, I think, and it's another player who isn't done in the NBA. I went with Max Strus, who
Okay.
I think is like a super diet Mr. Pibb version of Austin Reeves. But Strus, once again, a guy you run a bunch of off-ball action for, much more than Austin. You're not giving him the ball and running pick and roll, but he is such a playmaker and a vision guy. He had 4 assists a game this year for Cleveland on a team with two really ball dominant guards.
Yeah.
I think at minimum, Baylor is a guy whose shooting gravity will allow him to use his passing vision to do dump downs, skip passes, the same way Max Strus does. 12, 4, and 4 this year for Strus honestly feels close to what I think a worst case best version of Scheierman could be.
I didn't realize Struess was as that like, had that gaudy of assist numbers.
Yeah. Shocking, right?
Yeah.
I
Which
think
is similar to the Baylor Scheierman's playmaking ability.
I told you this one time. I think it was when we did a segment for a sleeper show one day on some of this stuff. And I think like a month ago, I was like, dude, I'm watching Max Strus in the playoffs right now. And I literally envisioned Baylor Scheierman doing it all, but doing it better. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's it's a very similar player to me. I'll be honest with you. I like my comps here, Brian.
I like your comps as well. I did not take the passing into consideration with Desmond Bain as much as I should have.
And we did the whole Caucasian to Caucasian thing,
I
which
tried not to. I
I
tried not
know.
to.
I want to give you one big loud round of applause for not abiding by that. I fell for the bait, but I feel
I
very
don't
good
I
about
don't
it.
see color, Greg. I don't see color.
Okay, those are our player comps. If you enjoyed this, we got 74 more versions of this coming out leading up to the NBA draft, 5 dropping per day on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. The NBA draft is coming up, and I've got something awesome for you. We are partnering with the people at NBA 2K Lab. NBA 2K is the best video game on earth. The people at 2K Lab are making some awesome stuff to make that game even more fun, and they just launched their 2024 NBA Draft Simulator, where you can find the official Sleepers Media big board. We ranked our top 75 players in this draft class. Me, Carter, Brian Ralph, Riley Davis. We did it together, and it is featured on the 2K Lab NBA Draft Simulator. You can take control of any team in the draft, play GM with just one click, and see our entire rankings before these videos even come out. Check out the link in the description of this video to try out the draft sim for yourself, and you can find more mini games at nba2klab.com/NBA-mini-games.